Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone attending the Planning Committee meeting today and anyone watching the meeting via the webcast. I would like to remind you that this planning meeting is being broadcast live over the internet, and this meeting is available to view online now and in the future. Committee members, please be aware that we are all on camera and you may be visible on screen when people around you are speaking, and please remember to speak clearly into your microphones. We welcome the use of the Welsh language at meetings. I have had no request for people to speak Welsh today, so this meeting will be conducted in English only. Please, can all mobile phones and other noisy devices be put on silent? If there is an emergency alarm, please follow the green signs and go to the ground floor of the Civic Centre car park. Thank you. I'd like to ask the officers to introduce themselves, starting from my right. Polly, please.
Good afternoon, I'm Polly Ellis, Solicitor with the Legal Services section.
Rachel Beale from Democratic Services.
Richard Lewis, Head of Planning and Development.
I'm Norman Jones, Team Leader Applications.
Thank you. Item 1 on the agenda, attendance and apologies. Are there any apologies, Rachel?
Yes, we've received apologies from Councillors Hugh Bevan and Jason O'Connell.
Thank you. If members would sign the attendance register in the usual way, please. Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Over to you, Polly.
Firstly, can I remind members that you need to complete the declaration of interest form in the attendance register folder if you're declaring an interest in any application. Following interests have already been declared to me. In agenda item 4, Councillor Ron Burnett declares a personal non-prejudicial interest in agenda item 4 as a member of Hentless Community Council, which has been consulted on the application. Councillor Burnett also wishes to make a further declaration regarding agenda item 4.
Thank you.
And also, Councillor Faye Jones wishes to make a declaration regarding agenda item 4.
Yes, I would like to make a prejudicial interest, as my husband, who's a county councillor for Two Locks and Hentless, has supported this application.
Both Councillor Ron Burnett and Councillor Faye Jones will therefore leave the meeting when we discuss this agenda item.
Thank you. We go on to item 3, minutes of a planning committee meeting of the 22nd of May, and it's on pages 3 to 9. Could you agree that it's a true record? Thank you. Matters arising or questions, page 3, page 4, page 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Thank you very much. Item 4, planning application. Number 18 strokes. Oh, sorry, yes, you have to leave the meeting. She signed. Thank you. Planning application number 18 stroke P stroke 0211. and the proposal is retention of raised ridge line and construction of rear dormer roof extension sited at 2 Forest View, Hentless, Cwmbran, Tolfaen. The application is on pages 17 to 23. There was a site inspection on the 5th of June, and now we'll have a presentation from Norman Jones. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, if I could deal with a couple of corrections in the report. On page 18, in the description of development, the second paragraph, and the second line of that paragraph, it says an increase in height by 0.8. That should be 0.7 to tie in with the dimensions given in the assessment and conclusion. And I would also point out that the site inspection minutes refer to 0.65 metre exceedance of the existing ridge line. That should be 0.7 as scaled off. So it's 0.7 metres that we're dealing with. In terms of the application and the site, as the Chair said, this was the subject of a site visit on the 5th of June. It's a detached property, as you can see. It has previously been extended over the garage by a first floor extension by a permission given in 2011. And that is how the original, or the dwelling was prior to the works that the subject of this application were being presented before these works started. There was an extension on this side, taking it over an existing garage. In 2017, an application was given, submitted for a certificate of lawful development for the confirmation that what was being proposed was permitted development, and what was proposed was an existing dormer, was a dormer within the existing ridge line without any extension to the ridge height, and that was granted permission, or certificate was given in 2017. Now, the current application exceeds, this is the current situation on site, which members saw, and which involved an increase in the roof line, and you can just see it there, of 1.1 metre at an angle, which increased the overall height by 0.7 of a metre. And you can see it on this plan here. There's a faint dotted line which would have shown the original roof pitch. That's been extended then up with a dormer placed at the back. Now, what the application also proposes, and this is a side view along the street, what the application also proposes, and this I didn't point out on site, is to build up the gable end wall in parapet fashion, each set end, and that would increase the pitch, the visible pitch on the rear, and that would be done with materials to match the existing. However, we've considered that and the implications of the development on the adjacent neighbours, and you can see our recommendation for refusal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Right, it's open to committee now. Any questions? No questions?
Yes,
Thank
Chair.
you.
So can you go back to that diagram again, please? Because we're looking at the existing property there, the top one, the diagram. So they want to go further.
No, what they wish to do
Yeah.
is to fill in the side of the dormer with a parapet wall, effectively in brickwork to match the existing. So you would see a sliver of brickwork matching the existing. If I take you back to the photograph, you can see there's a triangle there which has been raised above the original roof pitch.
Yeah.
So what they would do is to change the angle of that to try and somehow fill in an area, which I go back to the plan, that area with brickwork to match the side gable. That's what they're showing on these plans. So it would effectively, you can see it's slightly set off the gable end, and that gable end would be increased in height. So you get a different roof pitch on the back than exists on the front.
Yeah. What was their original plan that you agreed, please? Have you got a diagram of that?
Back to the original plan showed no raising of the height of the existing roof height. So everything would be contained within the existing ridge line.
Then the other question is, so all the neighbouring properties are all within that ridge height, are they?
If you go back to I suppose this one shows it the best, there is a commonality of roof pitches all along that street, with a fairly shallow roof pitch. So this is the only one in that vicinity that I'm not aware of any other dormers being inserted.
I'm sorry to prolong this, but because when we looked at it, it was very striking. It's not the word, is it? And on the other picture of the room, were the dormers on the other side as well?
No.
So this which what I'm getting at, it completely changes the whole outlook. We're having one roof like that.
And in terms of the size of the dormer that could be done under permitted development is, we consider, substantially different from what is involved in the raising of the roof here. They've achieved a greater height, and it to our mind, and we've said this in the reason for refusal, it would set a precedent for approving developments of this type which are reliant upon raising of the roof of the ridge height. The legislation does allow dormers under permitted rights, but that one of the criteria is that the ridge height isn't raised. It doesn't exceed, the dormer doesn't exceed the original ridge height, and this clearly does.
Thank you.
Claire Evans.
My question is, with that extra height and everything else, does it increase the load bearing on the property?
This, undoubtedly, there were works undertaken to convert that living space. Now, there was an insertion of a load-bearing beam which involved the increase in the floor height internally. Now, that work was not inspected by our building inspectors. That was undertaken by an approved inspector, but that's what I'm led to believe.
questions? Louise?
Is it finished? Totally finished?
No. It is finished internally. It is being used internally. However, the application does, the plans as submitted do show that building up of that gable end wall, so that hasn't been completed.
So how do we get this far? If it's 0.7 metres too high, how do we get to this stage already? It's obviously building control. They come in throughout the process.
They didn't make any approach to us. No building control, our building control weren't involved. So we had no involvement until it was effectively in a completed state.
So ultimately, if we go with your refusal, the owner has to take it down and go back to the original, or
in terms of, if he will have the right of appeal against any decision taken by the council, and that would be for the planning inspectorate if members go along with the recommendation.
Thank you.
Janet?
Were the builders either naive or negligent in not adhering to the criteria and the height?
Well, clearly, in terms of they were granted a certificate of lawful development in 2017, and clearly they met the permitted criteria then. Now, at a certain stage, they must have realised that they were going above that in terms of increasing the height of the ridge line and the roof, but they didn't make any approach to us during when works were ongoing.
I tend to agree with what Louise says. In fact, if they've got so far, they can incur other costs, but I feel that they've been negligent in not consulting planning right through. To come to this conclusion that they've raised the ridge and the roof by 0.7 metres.
I suppose when we look at it, is it the owner or is it the
builder? Yeah.
So the owner's going to be left with a big bill.
Or the builder, yeah. That's what they've been negligent.
Sorry, we just discovered it was negligence by the builder or the
owner.
Yeah, in terms of who's responsible, clearly, the owner is the responsible party. Whether it'd be up to him to claim any negligence against anybody.
Thank you.
Stuart?
Yeah, I'm just reading. Just reading through some of the representations. People are looking at it a bit of an eyesore within the community, and I mean, on our assessment, we're going on them sort of lines. So I think really, if you look at it, it's totally out of character with the area.
Dana?
To put it right, is it a massive job for the owners and to make it within the right?
In terms of returning the situation to what was approved in 2017, then there are substantial implications there clearly, because he will have to alter that the form of that dormer.
Okay, thank you.
Right, are there any more questions or comments from members?
I'd like to accept the officer's recommendation, unless anybody's got an amendment they want to put it to it. I'd just say go to, because we looked at one look at it and thought this is totally out of character with the area.
I'll second that.
Right, it's been proposed and seconded to accept the officer's recommendation of refusal. You ready to vote on it? Could I have a show of hands then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, that's 10. And those against? 1. Abstentions? No, that's everybody. Right, this application has been refused. Right, thank you for your attendance. That concludes the meeting today. Thank you.